People, we did it. We all gathered back around the shiny blue light in your hands, and we are diving back into the IS200, IS300, and Altezza chassis with the rear traction arms. Now, as we did mention in our previous video, the IS is a recent adoption into the Gktech family with this little beauty that we snagged up, as you can see panning around on your screen. We are typically used to a nice Nissan badge on our whips and not this big L. Meanwhile, the guys are hoping it's a Nissan in disguise, but lo and behold, it is not. But fortunately for us open-minded folks, it is in fact a Lexus. So with that being said, let's continue to add some value to this lovely piece of Japanese machinery. We can jibber jabber about what the arms can and can't do, what value they'll add to your life, but that saves us the breath of saying it and saves your ears the audio of listening it, and it'd be better to direct your attention to the product page that we're hovering around on your screen right now. The reason why you should go there is that we update this thing as often as possible with any and all updates. The page also has everything you need on it, like the assembly guide, some cool photos, even some facts, so head over there to get closure on the arms post said purchase. That being said, we can scoot over on to throwing these onto our glorified and overweight Yoda. Now, in the previous episode, we've been the OEM RLCAs, and obviously in this one we are targeting the traction rods, which we are putting forth on the screen right now. These arms have zero adjustment and quite frankly are a buzzkill, so let's change them out. First things first, loosen the knuckle side bolt, and you'll want to head over to the chassis side and loosen that bolt as well. Now you may be wondering, whoa there cowboy, why haven't you got a spanner on the other side? Well, Toyota or Lexus or whatever fancy name you want to call them has actually done something really clever, which is indenting a locking mechanism between the nut and the traction arm. As you can see on our little demo, the nut cannot move when flush with the arm, but if you tap it out a bit, it can be removed. Hot damn, that's some engineering. So with knowing this, you just need to loosen and remove the bolt side, then tap the bolt a bit and wind said nuts off. Get your favorite pumping device and take the load off the knuckle assembly with the arm itself and pull the knuckle side bolt on out. Then head on to the chassis side and pop that bolt out as well, along with the actual arm itself. Anywho, moving right along to the rightly titled segment of adjustment. Now that you have your OEM arm out and the Gktech arm alongside it, you're going to want to set the arm up, correct? You can reference all of this on the assembly guide, and or for the literacy impaired, we have a visual for you coming up quick. The first thing we always recommend doing is winding the arm out as long as possible, in which our case is the maximum safe amount of adjustment that you need. Then you wind it back in from there to your desired position. This ensures you get a safe amount of thread overlap at any adjustment. In this case, the maximum safe length is 374 millimeters, measuring from the bolt hole to bolt hole, which on the clevis side is made up of 93 millimeters, measuring from the base of the arm to the middle of the clevis bolt hole. Then on the rose joint side is 77 millimeters, measuring again from the base to the middle of the rose joint bolt hole. Now from here, you're going to want to wind down to OEM adjustment, which measures in at 345 millimeters bolt hole to bolt hole. On the clevis side, you'll have 81 millimeters from the base of the adjuster to the center of the bolt hole, and on the rose joint side, you'd have 60 millimeters measuring from the base to the middle bolt hole. That's a lot of talking about bolt holes. Another thing you can do if you wanted, and if you're smart and or lazy, is to compare the OEM traction arm to the Gktech arm by holding them side by side and comparing said bolt holes. Then just wind the Gktech arm to where you need it, cross-referencing that with the assembly guide to make sure you have a safe amount of thread overlap, and you're good to go, my dude. We don't need any fancy witchcraft with our IS, we just need the OEM setting, so this is exactly where we're going to leave them. So let's head back over to our newly found pride and joy. Throw the traction arm up inside the subframe where it belongs and smack that OEM bolt through the guts while winding the nut down on the other side and leaving that loose for now. Then to make life easier, because it can be so goddamn hard at times, jack up the suspension and line up that traction rod clevis bolt and the hole and throw the bolt through the guts, then remove said pumping device whilst winding on the nut for said bolt. Head to the subframe side and you'll want to wind that bolt down until the OEM nut lines up with the notches on the subframe. You'll feel it click into place, and when it does, just secure it with a spanner for best practice, and then tighten and torque to the specs shown on the screen. Head to the knuckle side bolt, hold the nut on one side, then tighten and torque the bolt to the specs shown on the screen as well. Now, we mention this in every single video that has a bearing, so if you're new here, or if you've been here before, sorry in advance, please tattoo this into your memory banks. The bearing must run central, not to the left, not to the right, central, like central things happen to be. Once that thing is super central, and I mean central, go ahead and secure the center of the rod with the hex so it doesn't go anywhere, then tighten both the outside and inside locking nuts down so this arm doesn't self-adjust your alignment and cause you to go flying off the track at your next event. After that's been done, look around guys, there's nothing left. You've done it all. These arms have been fit up and you can now adjust that rear traction and you're one step closer to this rear end feeling so freaking cool and adjustable and being dialed that your passengers won't even know. Congratulations. I, the neighbor you borrowed your tools from, and your dad that annoyed you all night with the stupid questions, are so proud of you. Now hurry and go get in alignment and get to shredding. Speaking of shredded dudes, these dudes probably don't work out at all, so probably aren't shredded, but they do like to shred in cars and have a good time doing it. We love you guys, and if you need help, please reach out to us. We promise we love the Toyo Lexus platform as much as any other, and we didn't mean those jokes about loving Nissan more, they were just jokes. This has been Officer Dan, Johnny Caps, and DK with the world's best how-to videos. Peace.